Oh yeah, that among us, ten million sonoji, and a regional and mine, ne gonkamakashi is the chero. So, first of all, we'll do together a few minutes breathing meditations, simply placing the mental attention on incoming and outgoing breath. Oh yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Tanga tuti dingalani chichi sante ni jengen lang chewa tindimi katu tani mandro de yorowa. Demo ta kare kanda ta di katu de la kare sombare sena. Ani pena ani jengen ba soso chapala to kamala supa tun chene ani chewe ne kasrani ta soso shonju sema no ji nyonsa lens sekananda shonju ji sen yuwa no ji nyonsa lens te sumbares. So we are continuing this teaching on the
these are 37 practices of Bodhisattvas. So we, at the moment, so we are on the topic of taking the adversaries as the path. So more specifically, so these practices, what we find here is all the relate to the Bodhisattvas, practices of Bodhisattvas. And so we, in the one of the preceding verses, so we came across the verse where how Bodhisattvas when they confront like a bandit or a thief who take away their belongings, and how they handle this situation, and how they then transform this unfavorable or the adverse situations into a favorable one.
제당안에 잡아도 그만라 수픽 잘라 주바 디제 아니 소소 셈발 강이지래 그러 델레종 아니 소소 녀도 동소나 아니 디그 아니 셈발 강이 치치 그러 제장아 디지 그텔 소소 녀빠 매진다 아니 파조가 디그 녀도 동네 아니 로라빠도 kumala 수바 제와 이거 내가서 아니 이냐 니쇼지 셈발로 진여슬렌스 대운도 살아서
And of course, if somebody forcefully, stealing things from us is a very can be very painful, mentally very painful one. But then the more painful one is when someone then the force, the abuse one. And then the events, for no reason, without any fault from one's own parts. So if they started to abuse one and even started to torture one, and we found in one of the verses where how the Bodhisattvas they continue their practices even in such a situation when there are others, who torture them as in such a painful way, such as even, cutting and chopping their limbs of their bodies, such as their hands and legs and so forth.
아니 미 몸보지 다 소소 꾸네 몸보라니 데모디 두죠요 근데 지지요 니니르스 소소 메라시오지 동선한 가서 델셀 네그로 디셀 네치그로 가인세는 가서 슈노네라 또도 기다 땀선세네 노네라 뽕가슈테 땀이세고 매바테니 땅 구동적어요와 ngo나에 땀세는 ngo나에서와 제장아 lepol devale ani mepatiga ni sel nechigores oni diga nekaslayo nyole kadishe kuyemete ani kan sunsavres.
And then we also found that then even more so than just somebody stealing your belongings and then physically causing harm on causing harm on you, then the mentally it can be more hurtful is when there are someone who criticize one and who bring you down in front of a large gatherings. So this is in terms of the mental hurt and mental pain. It is said that among the harm that other people can cause to our material possessions or to and also some physical injuries, causing injuries. And actually, they can, if they make an accusation and make an criticize one, and the spread the bad name about oneself in the publicly, it says that so in fact such for mentally, being one's the good names of the one's reputations being smeared by others, it says that it can be more painful. So we found we'll finish about how in such situation the Bodhisattvas, how even transform such the situation as the path also.
Ota sosolo kune mnyewa sosolo na nyuno mnyewa ta mera kune mera chepa tela ni tele chung ni mumbuji sosolo nisa ni mera shene dichori to chi sene mumbuji lawa tiga ni sembal ne chikrowa tiga tindig ne kasla lo nyolete ni sunsambares.
So with regard to the how people can the brings bad name to us by making criticizing one. So we learned in the text that how if people make the criticism indirectly, it's not as not that hurtful, not that harmful, as when make such criticism in the publicly. So we finish about that as well.
That teto lecho ni ani sonso sembal zepa kawat kariyor sena ani zepa kawiga ti netela ni zawachena siche nisu yonde siche tombo ti kasala ani ronki ni pashuwala soso puguda soso pama nojiga yopochi yapochi shivuji jesha yenayo ani te jesala ni pashuwa te yapore kasa soso drata utsita sona soso sembala o tig nechesne ani tnig siche te ta konson samares.
And then we also, after that, we also discuss about this. Actually, there are two verses in this text. So where in the first verse, so where we found that the even more so more hurtful is when how we will feel when someone who we who to whom we would have extended a great amount of love, great amount of support, and we have placed all our trusted. And but however, if that person then turned around as our enemies and started to cause bring trouble to oneself, and how this can be so extremely painful, and so this I think we finish about the verse which talks about this.
That's it. Nipati tang, so chin sona, the chin nipati goldisha. Then and it's our china country sumudulana. Rondo nyamba, maybe she will Majaun Kinyata Shena Young. Lamaj the keeper Donyachi, show lemba just a lonely easy. The institution this. So where we stopped in the last week is the verse 17, which read, if an equal or inferior person disparages you out of pride, place him as you would your spiritual teachers, with respect on the crown of your head. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. 제장하다 디치제디 가르송군들라나 디치제디 다 소소다니 리다 아니 zuilongzoda ani jinjowa ani yetela sopa ani nyomba tong wana ronle mawa tandi kuzo ki ronya pe ngajawong ki ani chese to pe da pe nyeta na zu shenayo dela control muzawa maze ani layo suso ko karichi che lama nongji ko su kipega wana dati showolen batene ne jasel no chi no len resene ashuji semono chi no len resene tani sujon des.
So if we go to the meaning of this verse line by line, then what we find here is that how about the Bodhisattva's practice relating to those others, who may be equal to Bodhisattvas, like equal in terms of their social status, in a caste systems, or in terms of their physical appearance or physical look, or could be wealth, financial or wealth status, or just education or any such qualities. The level of the qualities, so it can be all. So there are those who can be equal, or they can be even below ones, in the sense they can be they have a less below ones in terms of all this their wealth and their knowledge and so forth, and how when so how there can be such people who are equal or below one, who out of their pride and their arrogant mind, then if they disparage or they criticize one, and as it says here, the Bodhisattvas, when Bodhisattvas confront such situations, then they would regard them as a spiritual teacher, and then would even express the respect to them.
Dati tsitsing ngajawongi sejondo ngajawongi sengite ta zuido lonso da ne rida tani yetela sopa soso nyomba soso le memba ji inayo ngipine sel tani ji inayo ani pachu ngtiga ta soso tele konda ye soso chene ani nyele shiwa tela tani ngajate tani la ho wa pachu le yete nyomba to memba inayo pa쇼le 소소 지우지 인도 소소나 부시 제어이나 ngaja세 그러와 드니 용기라고 그랬어.
So in here, so there's a mention of the word like a pride. So that's a sense of the inflated, sense of like a thought that you are better off than the other peoples. So it's a kind of pride which is based on the your mistakens, on the wrong perceptions. So like usually you with even though so it doesn't accord with the realities, because even in the realities, even though you may be there are other people may be equal to yourself, in terms of their the physical look, or their physical look, or their wealth and their knowledge and so forth, and still, or however you see them as yourself as above them, through your own mental projections. due to mental delusions. So that's the pride that is mentioned here. So,
Shedun Shesa, Kundolunsa, Jawota Ujili Mine, Shedundo, ne Kundola Suba, Remato, She, Shedun Yusa Menge, that's also Pama Pinjola Suba. Oh, Tendila Tene, dog Gese, Yomares. Teza Nini, Shedun sing it, to do Kundo sing it, dry room, never shake it, never shave Nekas Shigurova. Chetanga, only Dratele Mine, Donko, Shedun Yemila Mine, Donko, isn't it?
So we find in here the how to in order to cultivate, generate feeling of like love and compassions, then we need to overcome. We should not have any like a hatred or the anger towards others, because if we have that, then we cannot generate the love and compassions. So now as to the generation of like anger and hatred. So normally we the negative feeling arises when we perceive the other being as being our enemies, someone who is harmful to ourselves, who's not a friendly, and such that normally when we have the feeling of the person that we are interacting is close to one, is one's friend, then of course normally we won't feel anger or hatred. So therefore important in order to now to understand the disadvantages of the hatred and the anger, and then we need to take into account of our understanding of how the causes of that, what causes that anger to arise, and so forth. So the main practice here is to generate bodhicitta mind, and it is to follow the bodhisattva's practices, and so therefore we have to look. If we look into if we take into account of now what kind of the conditions, conditions which can be favorable to become favorable to develop, to make progress on our bodhisattvas practices, then we have to see all the conditions which in fact which challenges our practices, like the practice of patience. So these are the something which becomes a favorable conditions. So from these perspectives, so we have to see here, as we find here, that all the situation or the people who who normally we perceive as somebody who is causing harm to us. So, but here, however, in here, so we have to train ourselves to, as part of this, our making progress on the Bodhisattva's practice, to view those as instead of someone, they being someone who is harmful to us, harming us, but they being as a friend, as an aid to our practice.
Teuta nitana tana shejawa tene paso nyengo jene pa ta chi yewa jila tingol shigo ta na shejawa tni maris nine pi lonle go tune pa sono tunga ina seji shide sunta de zo zewa tere deres karisena se chu dengite shide chungite ane jawa tere deres di kandes chugo relana ta sosoda ane sosogi nyena tela newazo wata ane ta tela mnyebala sopa jepato ta te kunda momboji ndoswa o tni shebi ne kasala ane soso control magawa chigo yorwa te naji gane ta dawo pashu wate shiwoji jinjo wa to nyen chimbo shizana wo soso magawa ji le yorwa she no se yorwa ta tni le yorwa te za tsola ne di ne kasala ne zewa singite ji 제도와 이나 네 어른이 지와다 아니 현주세 응원에는 녀래야 보지 된다고요. 그래서
And we also find here that how the cultivation of the patient or endurance is very important factor for us to maintain stable peace and happiness in our mind. And so if we have a patient, if we have developed this quality of patience within our mind, then no matter what situation we face, then we will be able to. We won't lose. We won't get disturbed, inwardly get disturbed or become unhappy. So this is why you're talking about like here how normally when we face some adverse situation like where people criticize us and the people abuse or accuse one of something that what you haven't done, so on this kind of situation where we we become very disturbed and very and unhappy. So in this way the here if we if we have the ability to practice patience, to develop patience, and then we will be all this adverse situation that we face, then won't be able to cause harm upon us, can disturbs our mind also.
Penani tumba chinseda ni so chi tupotandi susol magawa ji sona ani ta songal de gende don ri cheju sone ani control shin de ni sama shipa tandi de na ani sul negrisena ni sosi zpi chetenda ani tana ni kyuto marwa tani ta durun rosona ni sosi nomida ani pinjat sola luintene 아니 좋은 것을 하러 봐. 드니는 그래서 군지가 드니 계속나. So how
with the lack of the practice, then how we can easily become victim to any like adverse situation that we face in our life. And then, like, if for example, if someone they criticize one, and then soon after, then you will lose your the mental peace. You lose your temper, and then if we think about that, how this would have an impact by losing one's own inner peace, inner happiness. So who would have a lot of impact on one's not only mental happiness but also on one's physical health as well. In terms of how when we lose our temper, and then how we cannot even fall into sleep, and then also we might quite easily show the same kind of the temper to those who are close to one, like you have close, like family members, and so it has all this the negative impacts on all. And so in this way, how this losing our own mental peace and mental happiness can have such a negative impact on us, but not on anyone else, but to ourselves and to all those who are close to us.
Tenzane da jedoni chimbi karsunyorsena somba zona satu loyo zons ne somba ngena satu loyo nges tonje somba tala rolepi loyo somba zona netesha asne anitni suyores.
So relating to this, so the great Tsongkhapa said that if our mind, if our mind is positive, then what follow, everything that follows would be also positive. Whereas if mind is negative, then whatever the actions and the whatever that and the what follows will be also negative. Also.
아니 세와도 세와 매바 세와에 조조 손발 투그레스 니 니지 끈에 눈에 대한 팔아 대지 지분아 시기투스나고 아니 된 세와인 로고 말했어 다 니모지 끈에 눈에 팔아와라니 땡고도 근데 심바 동안라 수바 시우지 제나요데 세와레스 아니 제정안에 현주 선만오지 니 다 니지 내가 가르치는 니지 끈에 대시에서 아니 세와 매바레스 어떤 식인데 대인자다 가서 된다고 인사를 지지나 나 논나차 야보지 지와라 신의 뜻이 쇼치 동안 자침부 이쪽에 되나요 될 질문이요 봐 아니 내가 될 제시하고로 된노지 그 아니 저절 세워지 말해서네 했더니 내가 자신도 있어 가서 가서 벨라당가서네 노는 코포 노는 나산다고 얘나 신의 샤치동이나 아니 제거로 왔다 제작으로 와 파쇼와 뒤 제적으로 와 소설 강해지는 데 제적 시작으로 와
예 so the
세와 말이 세고 왔다 세와 말이 세고 말에 지존하고 세와 말로 와
so His Holiness Dalai Lama also remarks that what really most matter is our mental attitudes. So if our mental attitudes is wrong, then our actions, even if that outwardly that actions seems to be like very giving and very positive, but it won't be that beneficial. So, however, if our mental attitude is positive, such as compassion, true compassion, true love, sense of care for other beings, and then the actions that we take to out of that action then can really be really beneficial ones to others. So like the other can. There's a more. It has a more positive impact. So even if there is with a right mental attitudes, even if people receive some aggressions, some aggressive action from us, because if they see that our motivation is or intention is really love and compassion, it is to benefit them, so they can quite happily to tolerate that some temporary inconvenience. So it's like if somebody's sick and then have to end up to do some the doc performing some sort of surgery on their body, and then of course in that situation the patient will be prepared to tolerate whatever the pain and all the discomfort that would have to go through in that the surgery process, because the patient know that it is beneficial for in long run.
제상가 테노제네 구사주 가르치면서나 아니 숑주 셈바 셰사마주나 아니 숑주 셈바데 집행고 정보를 되셨어. 필다 로데 저비가 타 요쇼데 가르치나 아니 젤라 페데트지데렌디스. 근데 드니지 지네니 젤라 페데트근디스 필다 로데 다 저비가 타 요시나데니 젤라 페데트야데렌디스 데코조기 지고요. 대인자 숑주 셈바지 배행고 정보를 하셨어.
So the His Holiness also remarked that when we that the Bodhisattvas, they are very wise and very skillful in the sense that how the whatever actions or the action or the deeds that the Bodhisattva performs, but it is to in the long run is ultimately to really to benefit other beings, and such the motivation of every deeds that they do with the motivations or to benefit others, so is incredibly effective in terms of fulfilling all the Bodhisattva's wishes.
다 디네 오들라 네 조가니 론트 체와스네 어느 telani gapalont chewaton joalot chewasne sososopa soyeg puwa don tani nekaslani lar cheto chiche ani jinjowa mobo shun kazla shonji se nyaslen chiche o tani shen rokondis.
So now there's what follows this after that verse, this the previous verse. Now there's talk about how the Bodhisattva's practices in situations where they undergo, they face the like a poverty or their downfall in their the wealth and so forth.
제장아 동보 급발한테 채워텔라 사체 간을 지체 간을세나 소에 부시 또도 매니스 사체 네도 된치 따줄라 저거 뒤뒤 돌아 렌치지 심마면 바자셀론레 이스네 어디 지체 수용됐어.
So the first one which in verse 18 which read though you lack what you need and are constantly disparaged, afflicted by dangerous sickness and spirits, without discouragement, take on the misdeeds and the pain of all living beings. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas.
No luce, that tombone yene, no yepago, then high yene, tombone mepago, my yene, yeno trune. That canjesus jocha, and he said to kill us super soon so you can chachino, this is a calecoda. Timaze, that dinner castle, momumbo, niechiche. And it did the soso nasal. Did in that. 다 지에 마마에 그 내와라 소파 그 dünga 차송 때 레디살라니다 디그네카살라 다 미루냐 샘션네 당아 용마소 소네 내가 니 용에 때 년가 첨부였어 디네카살라 존지sembe 간드스 녀스랭겨 녀스랭 도티시고레스. So in this verse, so we find the how the the Bodhisattva the practice in a situation so where they face Bodhisattva, when they face the like a numerous adverse situations, such as in terms of their downfalls in their wealth, in terms of either not finding any wealth, any material wealth at the first place, or they have found but losing everything they've got, and then on top of that, they might also, addition, they may be also facing so many other misfortunes, such as like being suffering from some like a severe diseases, and not only that, then addition also some the influence of some like the harmful agent, harmful spirits, and so what the Bodhisattvas do when they face such so many downfalls and misfortune in their life, loss. That ni nekas chunji samanaji karas ito jigar sena, ani sosi dunga te, ani nula tanita dunga tel mine, ta ona yanji dunga taniji nasuna kande yasar sone, ani yala nijishine, ani yala nijishine yanji dunga te yunta, ta sukachela mungwendo la mwa shu sene tinipi nito ngone la ni ta lo nyos leng yores o ti ti tendo tani shi yores. So as we find in this verse, in such situations, the Bodhisattvas, of course, they won't lose their courage, their spirits, their motivations. What they would do is to they don't worry about the difficulties that they are facing, simply feeling depressed and just simply being buried themselves under all these different their own problems. So rather they think of all the other other beings, who what about because there are others who who also facing the same kind of difficulties, same kind of misfortunes. So their mind is rather directed to them, and kind of in situations, because it's they can understand the feeling of the empathy and the compassion will grow very strong, because they understand what the hardship and the pain that others are going through in that situation, because this is something that
they themselves experience that, so they clearly understand, and so therefore in this situation, Bodhisattva feel a greater sense of like empathy and compassion for all other suffering beings.
아니 둥갈 예때 가려였으나 둥갈 예때 된가서 nga자데 아니 매워지 그래서 nga자데 가려였으나 소설 때지 이해와이나 네 ngal시고 이해 소설이지 zuilongso도 접변조도 가리나 때지 이해와이나 드니기 전에 nga자시고 여러와 다 소설 둥가다니 접변조도 zuilongso도 관계군에 둥가에 쉬나 네 ngal이 뇽비글로테 매워찬로 그러와 대자네 둥가들라니 예때 요레스 가르스나 아니 니가 nga자데 매워지다 그래서네 신주는 드니 수용도 있어
사와드 가서 준주 준주 사와드 가서
이제 둥가 예때나
라
쇼이 대파세와시
라
쇼이 대파세와시
저
쪼이
대파
비 쇼지 나이 소소지 비 근데 여러와 디 매워지 그래서
so we find so in a sense the Bodhisattvas maintained a very positive frame of mind, such as like there's courage, Bodhisattva spirit, even in the face of a great hardships. And this is because, like as we find in the Shantideva's writing, a Bodhisattva's way of life, where they give which lists a number of the benefits of sufferings. Of course, normally we don't sufferings, when we talk about suffering, is something that we do not want. But however, so therefore we cannot really speak about the benefits or the qualities of the sufferings. But however, in the Shantideva's text, Shantideva says that if there are some qualities of the sufferings, which is the one quality is that it helps one to suppress the pride, very arrogant mind, because normally, when we think of the pride, only arises in a situation where we become wealthy, we acquire a bit of knowledge, and then this cause us to inflate our mind with this sense of pride. However, we won't feel such pride when we are really everything is very down. Ourself is very down with our various downfalls that we felt in our life. So therefore, it is important to there's a way where this way of thinking, this positive way of thinking, can then help one to take the advantage of the adverse situations.
제장아 다 되고 되려니 조알론도 채와서 당기는 조걸론도 채와서 급하게 손사와체 조알론도 손와텔 자와테나 냠바 트와신 로무시빈트 노티프이 노다 토치죠 스비 반조 님보 메지네 김바메 바자세 론레이스 어떤 수정です
So after touching on this, how to take the advantage of the situation where we face the impoverishment. So now the text also talks about the situation where you similar, but where you are impoverished or where you are, deprived of the wealth. So the verse 19, which says, though you become famous and many bow to you, and you gain riches to equal Vaishnavanas, see that worldly fortune is without essence and be conceited. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas.
제가 아니 대단도 가르려 버스나 아니 다 소소라니 주도 다 운자 다 집변조라 수바 아니 깨로 전부 쉬네 아니 다 몸몸보지 소소라피 다 기거시 아니 소소기 전어대오피 노티 자본 노티세 저거다 전어노지 그치 뭐지 든지근내 가서는 현지 사만하지 런트 간데서 녀서 내고 그러잖아 아니 든지그 예위 내가서는 소소는 날 예 손비 거래 나자 제지매와 아니 더솔아니 템보매와 아니 다 고에 부솔 다 니마치리야나 니마치 쳐라매 아니 그 템보매와 노기 루노지 아니 든지그 다 쇼지 사만하지 든지그 지네 녀서 낸 거요 그래서 든지그 제가 했었다.
Okay. So this verse is rather related to the practices where, to do, what practices to do, when we are endowed with the richness, richness of the world, such as in terms of the material wealth, in terms of your reputations, your skills, knowledge, your beauties, powers. When you have all this, the richness of the world, and then here, as says here, see what the Bodhisattvas would practice in such a situation, such a very favorable situation of where you have all the where you are endowed with all the richness of the world, as it says here, and see that a worldly fortune is without essence and be conceited. So as it says here, even they have so much wealth which equal to the, like it says, a Vaishnavana, which is the like a heavenly king, the god of the wealth, one of the god of the wealth, even equal to that. But yet, as it says here, the Bodhisattva would see all these worldly richness or worldly excellences as impermanent and as without essence, and they can be as transient or can be equally easily gone, disappear like the lightning in the sky. So this is what so by seeing that, so they would never feel any like the pride, they will never have any sense of pride in because of having all these the excellent qualities.
ngatsota mumuji tanirwada ji suzul jowada ni zuilong zola suma mewi nekasana ni nyochuji ni tetshuna dikal tese ni zuilong zota ketsala supa ni yogi depen jola supa chuzuna susu ngai sombi ngajai cheada ni yala ni chese to tongchu zowa de che dewa to ani tela tene ni ta legend nu sekra chimji shawa 네 모아지고요. 어다 뒤에 가서는 소소소들이 제지요 말해서는 다 가서 라자나들이 저고요. 그래서
so although what we find here are all the relates to the practices of the Bodhisattvas, but we should also try to get some sort of like a messages of some sort of advices, from these these practices, Bodhisattva practices. So it's as in here. So we are reminded here that the just as that when we in a situation when we face a hardship and all the difficulties, all the downfalls in our life, as it is important not to be feel discouraged, not to be feel depressed about that. And similarly, when we are doing really well in terms of our the life, like our successful, our the wealth, educations and so forth. So again, he said we should not feel a sense of like the inflated sense of like pride, and because if you feel that, then there's this can be bring more discontent thoughts in our mind, because we might then think that we might worry that whether we won't be contented with what we have, and we may also either we might look down upon those who do not have as much wealth and so forth as ourselves. We look down upon them and even criticize them, or we may think that if we don't even make more wealth, acquire more the qualities, then we someone might even will have more than ourselves. So therefore all this can have the if it's not this if our mind, again our state of mind is not controlled even in such situation, then there's also the possible that out of this such a disturbed state of mind, as out of pride and pride arise, and also the sense of competitive arise, and out of such thought, then we might engage into more like a negative actions. So therefore, it's we can get the understanding the advice is that we should not be. There's no reason for us to feel such a pride about our successes.
다 티우드 지제티 가르치는 사는 티우드 지제티 쇼주 semba 노라 낸다 또 쇼주 세뇨스 랭게 노라 네 무가와도 시 저월라 소발라 레소나니 카데 칸스 쪽 그래서 저어디 칸스 더 그래서 아니 디콜레드샤 안테테 아니 지그 가르치요 그러와.
So after that, then there's the next verse which we won't go over tonight. So it's on the what how Bodhisattva practices in a situation in which there are others who dislikes them and who who appear as their enemies. So how Bodhisattvas what sort of practices Bodhisattvas do in such situations. Okay, so we leave tonight's teaching here, and Geshe said, I think the weekend, so there's a Easter, weekend's coming, so he like to wishes everyone a happy Easter, and also to let because the Easter break, so we are also going to have a teaching break for next week. So there's no Wednesday teaching for the next week. Okay, thank you. And I hope you have happy Easter with your family and the friends, and a good celebration. You have a good celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jonju Zenju Ramboje, Mache Bana, Sheja, Shewa Nyamba, Mebai, Kune Kunda, Bewa.